trade to fall back on. She would starve or end up in the workhouse. No, even taking the beatings was better than that. She realised at that moment there was no way out for her, at least not yet. As she lay on her bed, Orpha heard the singing and joviality from the people in the streets around her home in Wednesbury. She had hoped to be allowed to join in, but instead she had received yet another hiding. The day had been declared a bank holiday in celebration of Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee, 20th of June, 1897, and street parties were in full swing everywhere. Orpha had asked her mother's permission to go out and enjoy the day with the other people of St. James's Street, but Hortense had refused. Orpha slowly stood and walked to the window, looking out longingly at the revellers. She heard the music and laughter of the road's residents as they enjoyed their day off from the daily grind of work. She pursed her lips as she thought about those fortunate enough to have a job. This celebration day off was welcome indeed for them. If she had a job herself, it would give her freedom and independence from her mother, but finding work would be nigh on impossible in the poverty-stricken town. As she watched the festivities, she thought about the people who were singing and dancing in the street. She thought about where she and they lived. Wednesbury was a small town in the heart of the industrial Black Country, so named due to the pall of smoke constantly hanging over the place, belched out daily from chimneys both domestic and industrial. The coal dust from the 3 collieries, combined with the dark smoke from factories and furnaces, coated every building with a layer of grime. Housewives spent many hours cleaning their closely packed terraced houses, only to have to do it all again the next day. Work, she knew, was hard to come by, and the bread line, out-of-work people standing at the corner of the marketplace, in the vain hope of finding employment, grew steadily day by day. She considered how fortunate she was to live in such a fine house, as she watched the poorer people making the most of their day off. Buchanan House stood at the top end of St. James's Street, where it joined Dudley Street. It was a large house and 2 steps led to the front door, which was flanked by 2 massive stone pillars. The red quarry-tiled floor of the hall led to the parlour on the right and the comfortable sitting room on the left. At the end of the corridor, on the right, stood the door to the kitchen, with the scullery and butler's pantry opposite. Further along were the back stairs, which led to 4 servants' bedrooms. The imposing front staircase ran up from the foyer, where there were 4 large family bedrooms. The lavatory was housed in a brick building behind the house. She felt extremely lucky to be living in such a fine place, but residing with her volatile mother made her life thoroughly miserable. Snapping her attention back, her eyes roamed up and down the street. She saw the trestle tables laid out covered with food and drink. Bunting was strung from house to house and fluttered in the wind. Men and women were dancing in the cobbled road as others played instruments. Children dashed about playing tag and other games. Orpha realised she was tapping her toe in time with the music and smiled at the antics of her neighbours. Her enjoyment came to a swift end as her mother threw open the bedroom door and marched in.
"What do you think you are doing? Get away from that window at once."
Hortense grabbed Orpha by her raven-black hair and dragged her across the bedroom.
"Come with me. I have a job for you."
Hortense gave another sharp tug to her daughter's hair before she let go.
"Kitchen, now."
Orpha preceded her mother down the stairs and into the kitchen, still rubbing the soreness on her head. Hortense's brown eyes narrowed as she stared at her daughter. Her face was pinched into a scowl, and her mousy hair was pulled back severely into a tight bun at the nape of her neck. Sliding her hands down her black skirt, she rounded on the girl, saying,
"I have given Alice the day off, therefore you will have to mop this kitchen floor."
Seeing Orpha about to object, she held up a finger and went on,
"You will mop this floor and make sure you do a good job. I intend to watch, and woe betide you if I'm not satisfied."
As Orpha moved to the scullery for mop and bucket, she thought it unfair the maid had the day off and she had to do the chores. Pumping water into the bucket from the standpipe in the yard, Orpha carried it back to the kitchen and began to mop the floor. From the corner of her eye, she saw her mother begin.